Coming up on Mountain News this morning, staffing shortages cause some issues at nursing homes here in the Commonwealth. And members of the community in our region ask for help as they continue to see price hikes on their water bills.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Chas Gayhart. It is 6 o'clock on Friday, February 18th. Let's go back over and check in with Brandon. It's much cooler morning than it has been the last few days.
Yes, it's been some cool mornings, but it's been some nice days. But today it's a cool morning and a cool day. Yeah. So there you go. It's just not going to warm up that much today. Yesterday spoiled us, that's for sure.
Yes, it did.
So, but this morning, much colder, so grab those jackets on your way out the door. You may have to dodge a few snowflakes this morning in some areas. Let's take a look at our camera over at UVAY. It's the high knob camera, and you'll see again, a little fog trying to build in there. Could be a little bit of snow as well. 30 for a temperature right now, and temperatures continue to fall across the region. We're already into the low to mid 30s there for everybody this morning right now in Louisville and Lexington, in the 20s already. Statewide, you can see that colder air off in the distance. 22 Paducah right now, 28 Cincinnati, 24 Owensboro, 27 Louisville as we mentioned, but still 42 in the Tri-Cities as that front continues its trek out of the region. 35 is our forecast high. If the skies clear out fast enough, upper 30s definite possibility. Average high for this time of the year is 50, and we're not breaking no records today. 70, the record high on this date back in 1986. Chas?
Thanks, Brandon. Well, nursing homes say they have had to turn down patients because they simply don't have the staff to take care of them. But it does not just impact those patients or their loved ones. It's a cycle that also hurts hospital capacity by keeping patients there longer. Garrett Weimer shows us what they are dealing with.
During the pandemic, for all the concerns about hospitals filling to capacity, the worries at many long-term care facilities have often been the exact opposite: empty beds.
In our skilled nursing facility, we've got nearly 40 beds sitting empty because we don't have the staff to take care of them, and it is scary.
Places like Sayre Christian Village say they're doing what they can as they deal with staffing shortages. For many, that's meant not taking in new patients.
I have an admissions person that all they do all day long is field calls that unfortunately we don't have availability, and that is not what the message that we want to send. But we also don't want to send a message that we can't take care of the residents that we have. So it is a fine, very fine balance.
Then that impacts all of us because it clogs up the healthcare system.
Backing up hospital beds is just one impact. Lost revenue makes it harder for the facilities themselves to stay open. According to a recent survey from the Kentucky Association of Healthcare Facilities, Kentucky Center for Assisted Living, 57% of member facilities are worried they might have to close if staffing problems continue.
It's really a perfect storm. I think, although I'm sympathetic to all areas of our economy and the workforce struggles, we really need to focus on long-term care.
Experts say it's not a new problem, but the pandemic accelerated it. Nationwide, the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows nursing homes have lost close to 240,000 workers. That's 15% of its total workforce. At one point this winter, industry advocates say skilled nursing facilities across Kentucky had roughly 3,000 open positions.
It is beyond a crisis situation.
The state's long-term care ombudsman tells me from July to December, her office received 51 complaints directly related to staffing and 88 complaints about delayed or unanswered responses to requests for help. Both of those categories are up from the first half of the year. But some experts say part of the answer has also been part of the problem. The federal government has been asked to look into staffing agencies. Many facilities are relying on them to fill open spots, only for some to be charged high rates and have their own workers hired away to agencies that can pay more. Meanwhile, lost revenue continues to take a toll even on nonprofits.
While we're not for profit, we're also not for loss. And our COVID expenditures on their own have taken a significant toll on our operation. And so to have beds sitting empty.
Venus says she knows it's not unique to them or even their industry, but it's no less frustrating.
There is a huge need for what we do in this community. Now more than ever, as you have folks that have been in the hospital from COVID, there's a lot of folks that need the services that we provide. It's just incredibly frustrating that we can't do it, and we can, but we've got to have the appropriate amount of staff before we can.
Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Venus says Sayre right now is at about 75% occupancy when they're typically close to 100. She says they're seeing an uptick in applications, but still nowhere near what they need. And from the beginning of the legislative session, everyone in Frankfort has seemingly acknowledged the shortages in health care. There are a number of bills in the works to address specific types of positions. Thursday morning, another one was added to that list. Representative Kimberly Moser from Northern Kentucky says that community health care worker serves as an essential go-between for people who need health services and the doctors who can provide those services. Representative Moser and others speakers emphasize the importance of the linking role, especially when it comes to making sure underserved communities know the services they can get. And Democratic House lawmakers unveiled a new bill Thursday morning to legalize marijuana. The bill would erase misdemeanor convictions for thousands, saving millions in the criminal justice system. It would also fund substance use disorder treatment facilities, pay for providers throughout the state, and create new state revenues. So far, 18 states have legalized it for recreational use. Representative Rachel Roberts says the state could reap up to $100 million per year.
Make no mistake, Kentuckians are growing cannabis. They are selling cannabis. They are consuming cannabis. We just aren't regulating it for their safety or benefiting from the tax revenue it should be generating.
As for medicinal use, Kentucky is already in the minority of states that don't allow it. 37 states have already legalized medical marijuana. That includes most of Kentucky's neighboring states, including Illinois, Ohio, West Virginia, and Missouri. Back here in the Commonwealth, with another rate increase piling onto an already financially drained community, water customers in Martin County are asking for help. The Martin County Water District just received a more than 21% rate increase from the Public Service Commission. Though the district only asked for a 12% increase to break even, officials say the commission thought that was not enough. And while some customers understand the need for money, they say it should come from another place, not people already struggling to get by.
If we can find some outside resources to help and support us and support our town, that would ease the stress off the water board, the stress off Alliance, and also the stress off the residents, most importantly.
Officials say the district is just trying to work with everyone to move the county's infrastructure forward. A bill that would block the release of information about public officials is moving forward in Frankfort. Senate Bill 63 passed out of the Senate Judiciary Committee 9-2 yesterday. The measure would exempt personally identifiable information of many public officials and their families from Kentucky's Open Records Act. The Kentucky Press Association is strongly against the bill, saying it's too broad, will keep public officials from going unchecked, and for the first time would impose civil liabilities for publication of truthful information. The first bill dealing with new guidance on what should be taught in schools dealing with history and controversial subjects of race is moving through the General Assembly. It's Senate Bill 138. The sponsor calls it Teaching America's Principles Act. WYMT's Phil Pendleton explains what's in the current bill.
It's an issue that's drawn a lot of attention and debate, what should be taught in the classroom, dealing with some of America's unpleasant history.
We've heard from multiple parents, multiple educators and students over the past months.
Senator Wise says this bill, with language change following a lot of complaints that it's banning critical race theory, simply focuses on teaching American history that's age appropriate.
And encourage teachers to help students explore original core documents, analyze historical and current issues and controversies.
Despite those last-minute changes, there were still a number of people who spoke out against the bill during the committee meeting this morning, from teachers to students to community activists.
Some say that it's a problem looking for a solution or that it censors certain topics.
The biggest reason why I feel 138 will negatively impact my education is because it discourages teachers and students from having truthful conversations about current and past events.
Ignoring the past or only telling partial truth does a disservice to everyone. It's an injustice to those whose story is being forgotten or falsified.
But supporters maintain there have been problems that need to be addressed.
This bill is a way to ensure all children are educated, not indoctrinated by certain political and social beliefs, while also ensuring they are exposed to the rich content of the many amazing speeches, letters, and documents that tell the complicated story of America.
I don't think that this bill is a good bill because it seeks to change how we teach history. It wants to limit and narrow what we talk about in history.
Bill passed along a mostly Republican majority vote of 9-4. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The bill now advances to the full Senate.
Coming up on 6/11, and things are looking a little bit better. Still a few snowflakes flying out there, but the temperature is the big story this morning. As we see those continue to drop, they'll likely do that through about 8 o'clock this morning instead of 7 o'clock, thanks to the passage of that cold front. 33 Harlan, 32 Pikeville, Prestonsburg, and Ashland. Also Somerset and Williamsburg, 31 in Jackson, Irvine, and London. And that is 20 to 30 degrees colder today than it was this time yesterday. Remember those temperatures yesterday were 10 to 20 degrees warmer than the day before. So these are some wild swings over the last little bit. 35 this afternoon, maybe a little bit better if we get the clouds out of here faster. A little bit of a breezy start to the day, but those winds will start to die down just a little bit later on today. And your headlines as we head into the weekend, much colder, but a calm weekend with the sunshine, but some more rain possibilities on the way early next week. Chas?
Thanks, Brandon. And thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, U.S. and Russian diplomats prepare to speak in hopes of diffusing European tensions.